Your Excellency, to your colleagues who have come to mourn with you, to mourn with us. And as I make my statement, allow me to make an observation. When the remains of the former president arrived in the country, the crowds that gathered to welcome him into the country were indeed of unprecedented proportions. The crowds that lined the streets from Harare International Airport right into the city have never before been seen in this country. And I called it a genuine overflow of kindness. When President Mnangagwa announced the number of heads of state and former heads of state that were destined for Zimbabwe, I knew, we knew that our father was a revered and loved person. He worked well with you, heads of state and governments. And he never would have wanted anything done that was below par and below standard. And I know, because, yes, as a member of the family, for some time I was also in government. Our father had very strong family views. He set out after the liberation, the attainment of the liberation struggle, he set out to unite the family. To unite the family, not just the core family of the Mugabe, but proceeded to the extended family, to the Karigamombe family. To unite the Gushungos as a clan, and to ask them to love each other, to assist each other, empathize and sympathize with each other. And I say that for us, this was one of the greatest lessons that we must pass on to our own children. A lesson that he did not only practice at home. The language of unity and togetherness was his language. He detested tribalism. He wanted a nation that was united. He always recalled the fact that the struggle had been won because of the unity of the oppressed masses of Zimbabwe, not only because of one tribe or another. And so that unity and togetherness at family level and at the level of the state became one of the founding principles of our nation. And I hope, I have confidence that as we remember him, as we go through his memory, we recall his voice calling us to unity. we recall his voice bringing us together as a nation. Our father was very particular about the virtues of honesty and integrity. He taught us to be who you are, who we are, not to pretend to be what you are not. This was the motto of Kutama when it was established in 1912. Esse quam videri, to be rather than to seem. And he taught us to be who we are. And we are proud, and I know that our family will preserve that education that we were given. He was an educationist. He taught you without you realizing that you are being taught. He educated his ministers. He taught them in class because he wanted them to be of a higher standard, of a higher quality, a higher caliber. And I have no doubt in my mind that this will never leave their memories. Your Excellencies, our father was about consistency. Bona Mugabe told me that her father said to her, I want you to be consistent, to do one thing and carry it to its final and logical conclusion, and not to hop from one thing to another and have many halves which will amount to nothing. And he gave her the example of how they, against all adversity during the liberation struggle, they, halfway through the struggle, were put in prison for 10 years. And yet, when they came out, not only did they get back to the task of completing and attaining liberation, but they intensified it until 1980. That is consistency. There were others who felt that the land reform program probably was not the right way to go. And he said, no, we have had this since the liberation struggle. It is one of the outstanding national questions of the day, and we must complete it. And it was carried out to its final and logical conclusion. He loved these people. He wanted them to have land, to have resources so that they would look after themselves. He knew that in the process of doing so, he would anger certain sections of our society. He knew. And yet, the burden of looking after his people told him that it was better for those other sections of the society to be angry while the greater generality of Zimbabweans benefited from the land reform program. He introduced indigenization and economic empowerment because he wanted these people to participate in the realization of economic development in Zimbabwe. And so we miss him already. We want to be with him. The mind knows that at 95, we at some point must go. And yet the heart says no. We would have wanted to have him. And this is why we mourn for him. We are touched by the support that we have received. And we are touched by the support that has come from the international community. And we hope that this will enable him to go away a happy man. I must say, and I spend lots of time with him, towards the end of his life, he was a sad man. Sad, sad, sad man. He recalled quietly the journey that he had walked. A profound journey, a hard and excruciating journey. And thus must he live. Kushungo pachiorera vemuzhanji ndo zvazvinoita vazvimba, ndo zvazvinoita itai kuti nyika yenyu irambe ichienderera mberi. Batanidzai mhuri dzenyu, amatirai mhuri yenyu, chengetai mhuri yenyu. I thank you. I thank you most sincerely.